The lecture hall of the Galactic Academy hummed with the soft bioluminescence of 100 different species. Instructor Instructor, a towering Valkyrian with crystalline exoskeleton that refracted light into dancing patterns, stood before the holographic display. His four manipulator appendages gestured gracefully as he addressed the xenobiology class. "Today, we shall examine the death world known as Earth," Instructor announced, his translator converting his chittering language into standard galactic, "a planet so hostile that it defies conventional understanding of habitable zones." The hologram shifted, displaying Earth's blue and green surface. Gasps rippled through the audience. Most students had never seen a world with such violent atmospheric activity. "Observe," the instructor continued, 71% liquid dihydrogen monoxide, temperatures that fluctuate wildly, atmospheric electrical discharges powerful enough to vaporize organic matter, and the creatures, he paused dramatically, the creatures of this world are nightmares given flesh. Elizabeth Chen sat in the third row, her dark eyes fixed on the display. Beside her, Jackson Torres leaned back in his adaptive seat, a slight smirk playing on his lips. They were the only two humans in a class of 47 students, representatives of their species in this prestigious institution. The hologram changed, displaying a massive great white shark breaching the water's surface. "Takacharodan, Karcharias," Sixthara said with what might have been a shudder. A predator with rows of serrated calcium-based weapons in its feeding orifice. It can detect electromagnetic fields and blood molecules from vast distances. This creature has survived virtually unchanged. For 400 million orbital cycles. A Flishan student in the front row made a whimpering sound through its breathing spiracles. But this is merely the beginning. The instructor continued, "Observe the sinancia verrucosa de stonefish. Its dorsal spines contain neurotoxins capable of inducing system-wide failure in most sentient species, and it is nearly invisible in its environment." The hologram cycled through more creatures: saltwater crocodiles with crushing bite forces, box jellyfish with enough venom to kill dozens of beings, inland taipans with neurotoxic compounds that could drop a Thurian bull in seconds. The African elephant, Zixthara gestured to a massive grey creature, weighs 6,000 kilograms and has been known to demolish entire settlements when provoked. And perhaps most terrifying, the hippopotamus. Despite appearing docile, this creature is responsible for more human deaths than any other large animal on Earth. Its bite can sever a being in half. Jackson nudged Elizabeth with his elbow, grinning. She suppressed a smile, keeping her expression neutral. "And we have not yet discussed the microscopic terrors." The instructor's voice dropped lower. "Plasmodium, parasites, rabies virus, prion diseases that literally cause brain tissue to deteriorate. Earth is a nightmare catalogue of evolutionary arms races, each more horrifying than the last." The class sat in stunned silence. Several students had changed colors, a sign of distress in multiple species. The mosquito Zixtera brought up an enlarged image of the insect. "This tiny creature is Earth's deadliest animal, responsible for hundreds of thousands of human deaths annually through disease transmission. And yet humans," he paused, his ocular sensors focusing on Elizabeth and Jackson, "humans call these mere nuisances." Elizabeth's hand rose slowly into the air. The instructor's anterior sensors swiveled toward her. "Yes, human Elizabeth. You wish to correct my data?" "No, sir," Elizabeth said, standing as was customary in Valkyrian academic protocol. "Your information is accurate, but with respect, you're missing something important." Zixera's exoskeleton darkened slightly, a sign of curiosity. "Please, enlighten us." "You've listed Earth's dangerous creatures," Elizabeth began, her voice steady and clear. "But you haven't mentioned the most dangerous one." The entire class turned to look at her. Jackson's smirk had transformed into a full smile now. I displayed the hippopotamus," Zixthara said, confusion evident in his translator's tone. "The statistics clearly indicate not the hippo," Elizabeth interrupted gently. "Humans." A ripple of confusion spread through the lecture hall. The Flishan students' breathing spiracles fluttered nervously. "Humans are not apex predators," Zixera protested. "You lack natural weapons. No venom, no crushing bite force, no protective armor. Your physical specifications are unremarkable," Elizabeth agreed. "Individually, but you're thinking like a Valkyrian, sir. You're cataloging physical attributes. That's not how humans became dominant on Earth." She walked toward the holographic display, her movements fluid in the lower gravity of the station. Jackson watched with pride as his fellow human commanded the room's attention. "Every creature you showed us evolved to fill a specific ecological niche," Elizabeth continued, Sharks for the oceans, crocodiles for the waterways, big cats for the plains. But humans, we didn't adapt to our environment. We adapted our environment to us. She gestured at the hologram. Those sharks, we hunt them for sport and food, even though we can't breathe underwater. We developed technology boats, diving equipment, weapons that work in aquatic environments. The crocodiles, we farm them. Those venomous snakes and spiders, we milk them for anti-venom, turning their greatest weapons into our defense. Zixera's exoskeleton had shifted to a deep purple fascination. The mosquito you called Earth's deadliest creature. We declared war on it. We drained swamps, developed insecticides, created genetic modification programs to sterilize them. We turned one of their breeding grounds, a disease swamp in North America, into a vacation destination called Florida. A nervous laugh echoed from somewhere in the class. Humans aren't Earth's most dangerous creature because we're the strongest or the most venomous, Elizabeth said, her voice gaining intensity. We're the most dangerous because we're persistent, because we learn, because we cooperate on massive scales, because when something tries to kill us, we don't just survive, we figure out how to kill it back, better and more efficiently. She paused, letting her words sink in. We turned wolves, apex predators, into dogs that live in our homes. We took one of the most dangerous prey animals, the auroch, and domesticated it into cattle. We looked at birds, creatures that could fly, and said we want to do that too, so we built machines that let us fly higher and faster than any bird ever could. Jackson stood up now, adding his voice. Every extinction event Earth threw at us these ages, supervolcano, eruptions, droughts, floods, we survived. Not because we're tough, but because we're adaptable. We're the species that looked at a mountain and said, I'm going to stand on top of that. We looked at the ocean floor and said, I'm going to visit. We looked at the moon, our own satellite, and said, I'm going to walk there. And we did, Elizabeth finished. All of it. Not in spite of Earth being a death world, but because of it. Every challenge made us stronger, more innovative, more determined. The lecture hall was completely silent. Zixera's exoskeleton had shifted through several colors before settling on a pale, almost translucent hua with an undertone of fear. I see, the instructor said slowly. I had not considered this perspective. In my catalogue of Earth's dangers, I failed to recognize the pattern. Every creature you listed adapted to survive Earth, but humans made Earth adapt to survive us, Elizabeth said quietly. The weight of that statement hung in the air. Several students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Flishen had pulled its sensory stalks into its body completely. Jackson smiled, returning to his seat. Should we tell them about nuclear weapons, or is that too much for today? Elizabeth shot him a warning look, but couldn't suppress her own small smile as she sat down. Zixera's manipulator appendages trembled slightly. Perhaps we should take a brief recess. When we return, we shall discuss the Andorian ice wasps. They seem considerably less disturbing now by comparison. As the students filed out, chattering in dozens of languages, Elizabeth and Jackson remained seated. Think we scared them? Jackson asked. Probably, Elizabeth replied. But he asked for accurate information about Earth's most dangerous creature. Fair point, Jackson nodded. Though I still think we should have mentioned we're the only species on Earth that decided to split the atom just to see what would happen. Elizabeth laughed. Baby steps. Jackson, baby steps. Let them get used to the idea that humans are persistence predators first. We can blow their minds with our curiosity-driven, self-destructive tendencies later. You know, Jackson said thoughtfully, sometimes I forget how absolutely insane our species must seem to everyone else out here. Yeah, Elizabeth agreed, looking out the viewport at the stars beyond. But that's what got us out here in the first place. We're the species that looked at the infinite void of space and said, I wonder what's out there. Most species waited until they were contacted. We went looking. Humanity F*******. Yeah, Jackson offered with a grin. Elizabeth smiled. Humanity F*******. Yeah,